Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It's after Thanksgiving Day now. We're beginning of December, maybe first week or so of December. And the last time you guys saw me, I was running a live stream for me doing some milling. So I was able to finish up with that tree. And that's going to be all of the battens and everything I need down here for cabin 3. I've also been running around. You can see behind me here, the landing for cabin 3 is poured. The stairs are done. The porch is completely done here on cabin 3. So 1 and 3 right now are basically identical. Not much difference in between the two. 3 still needs the battens and stuff. I assume I'm going to put those on probably sometime in February. I think the wood's got to dry a little bit, and then we'll stain those and get those put up. So beyond that, I had the inspector out. Was that yesterday, I guess? Yeah, and we talked a little bit. He had to do a rough inspection for electrical and plumbing here on cabin 2, and everything went just fine with that. Now, I had a ton of questions about my sewer line. You can see my sewer line here over my shoulder. That is really the program that I'm working on right now, or the project I should say that I'm working on right now. I am trying to, the sun's behind me, so it's really getting a lot of glare off the camera. So this is kind of what we're looking at. We're behind cabin 3 right now. Let me spin you around, take a look here. So here's the outflow. That's right below the toilet here in cabin 3, and then you have the sink and the shower input into that. So that's going to go straight into the ground to a 90 and then out this the main sewer channel here. So I have a bit of hand digging to do. That's going to be under here, and then I get kind of close to the footer over there for that concrete pier that's there. So this area here is probably going to be the deepest part of the trench. My intention is to rent the excavator or the trencher for this weekend and work on the trench for the rest of this sewer line. But because, let's see if we can come down here, and I'm not sure how well it'll show up on camera. You might just be able to tell just because of the bend in the pipe, but there's a substantial drop along here behind cabin 2, down towards, where it's got to make a hook and go underneath cabin 1. So really, I do have a nice straight approach here for this line. Out here for cabin 2, again, you can see my the outflow right here. This is going to come off at probably a 45. I want to get on the other side of the electrical. I'm going to come right through here, and then it's going to hitch in here with a Y, and then, downhill, continue on to the tank. That's cabin 2. Again, going to have some hand digging here, but not as much as up at cabin 3. You can kind of see, I don't know if that uphill is, you can really make that out. But yeah, there's some drop there. I have to take into account. So I want to get it as close to spec as I can. But, it is what it is. And then down here on cabin 1, I'm going to come off here at a 45 and then shoot right under cabin 1, pick up the drain, and then straight to the tank, which is right on the other side. So there'll be certainly more hand digging here as it relates here to cabin 1 than any of the others. So that's kind of where we're at. It's been one of these things, and it's been quite cold here lately, certainly in the 20s in the morning when I wake up and come outside. So I've been able to get like little projects kind of checked off. So I'm out here at 3. You can see there's a door. I think you can see the door there behind me. So the doors are on. I just got the locks in last night. So one of these days, we got quite a bit of rain coming So one of these days I'm gonna just come on out here and, you know, start to work on stuff, interior locks. I need to start doing trim. That's all gonna be wintertime stuff where I can run a heater inside the cabin and stuff like that. So I've also, other little things out here in front of cabin 1, there was a big pile of old wood that was there. I have split that now and moved it down the hill. That is for the fire pit kind of social area that's going to go in down, you know, in that where the drain field is by cabin 1. So people will be able to use that, you know, as they need it here, just to kind of hang out and stuff. So, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to set you guys up. I've got to mark my septic line. I want to start doing some hand digging. Today is a Thursday, so if I pick up the machine on, I'm sorry, today's Wednesday. So I've got today, and today's really kind of working its way on the other side of being done. So I hope to mark it out today, but I want to get some marking paint down on the dirt, and then do hand digging today as much as I can. Dig tomorrow, get everything really prepped, and once the machine gets here, I'll be able to cut the trench for the septic, and then also up the hill from the tank down the hill for the water line. I should be able to do that as well. And one more thing, I'll be able to trench the ditch for the power to come from my work shed out to the pump house where the water pump and the water tank and everything are going to sit. So I need to do that as well. So I've got 3 primary trenches that have to be dug over the weekend. Shouldn't be a problem getting that done. It's really just a matter of, you know, once it gets done, getting stuff in there, in the trenches, lined up, everything, you know, looking good and things like that. So fingers crossed, everything should go as planned. So I'm gonna drop you guys off. I'm gonna mark this up a little bit, and then, I don't know, get to some digging. Here we go, guys. Well, as fun as that was, as soon as I got 10 feet into it, I told you it's been cold, my spray paint is frozen. So I've got enough here to start doing some digging underneath cabin 3 and just to kind of get that started. So it's only in the mid 30s right now. So I just set the can in the sun, and we'll see how long it takes for that to kind of thaw out. So I'm gonna start doing some digging underneath cabin 3 and get this party started. All right, guys, back here under cabin 3, gonna start doing some of the hand digging here underneath the cabin. A while back, if you may recall, the electrical came in from the back here, and here is my grounding rod, and everything's kind of out of the way and back towards this side of the cabin. So coming through behind it here, I shouldn't have any issues. I shouldn't hit anything as far as electrical lines or footers or anything like that. Everything's kind of out of the way, and this is probably one of the easier cabins to get this kind of started with. So quite a bit of digging. Like I said, back here is probably going to be about 3 feet deep or so, and then you know, to try and make up for the downhill area down the way a little bit. So let's get to it. All right, guys, but just about wrapping it up for the day here. Not really too difficult under there, just a little bit awkward or so. So everything went just fine. I'm not sure here at the beginning. If you remember a while ago, I had a video with the trencher. So it's got a extended boom on it with basically a chain that runs around. So I should be able to reach under here without hitting, obviously the cabin or whatnot, and getting back in there a little bit and pulling backwards. So if I got to do a little more, kind of clearing away once that part gets done, we'll just make that happen. But right now, I think that's pretty good for cabin 3. I am down about I use the Pulaski. Pulaski is about 35 inches, so I'm just about at 35 inches down in the hole. So it's not perfect, but it's a great start. So, and during one of the times I turned you guys off for a second, I had the spray can actually thawed, so I was able to get my markings here for where the trencher is actually going to run. So I've got some things laid out a little bit here. Like I was saying, cabin 3 is probably the easiest one as far as the digging goes, because I don't have any wires, any of my electrical I have to worry about. So this Y here is where this sewer is going to pick up. But if you recall, my electrical goes down underneath and around the other side of this pier right here. So I'm going to have to deal with that. I don't think I'll actually be, because that stuff is down a good 2.5, 3 feet. I probably won't get down to it, but I'm obviously going to hand dig most of that out. So we'll come up out of here, probably like maybe a 45 to reach the 90 that's coming out of the cabin back in there. So that's looking good. And then we have this 45 right here, and this will shoot down underneath cabin 1. Again, my power for cabin 1 comes right about through here and around the back and up into the conduit. So again, I don't think I'm going to be really as deep, because I want to maintain, I'm trying to 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch per foot drop to get down into the septic tank, which is on the other side of cabin 1 there. So that's kind of the plan. So tomorrow, it is amazing here in the wintertime. The sun gets down behind these clouds. Right now, the temperature drops dramatically. So I was really sweating with my sweatshirt, and I took that off. And now that I'm not digging, of course, and cooling off, I'm starting to get a little cold. So my lips are getting tight. It's tough to talk and whatnot. But so anyway, that's the plan. We'll come back out here tomorrow, do more hand digging, probably around cabin 2 and cabin 1. Maybe just do touch-ups here and there where, I'm sure I'm going to walk around here 100 times trying to figure everything out. And then the trench that's going to be made for the water line, really not a whole lot. It's going to get in the way of that. Once I get going with that, that should go pretty well. There's nothing I really have to avoid. It's just some things I want to get behind, like far enough behind where cabin 4 is going to be, just to, when I'm digging my footers and stuff for cabin 4, I don't run into any of that. And it's basically going to parallel the power that actually comes down from the power pole that's up by the house up there. So probably parallel that, and then swing it around here in front of cabin 3 and run it down basically where the power went between these 2 trees here in front of cabin 2. But again, it's not going to be as deep as the power line. Our frost line here is 12 inches. So, and these cabins most likely aren't going to be used in the wintertime, so the water will be drained. So I'm going to try and keep it between 12 and 15 inches for the duration. So, and that helps out too a lot when I have I'll have tees. It'll tee off to each cabin, and I'll have ball valves there to help isolate cabins and things like that, to, you know, further down the line somewhere I may need, you know, a water cutoff or something like that. And then down at the end, there'll be some sort of water access point for like a hose to water some of the plants or anything we're going to have around here. So again, trying to look further down the line in preparation for all that stuff. If you have anything that I'm not thinking of that you might say might be a good idea, just let me know. Drop a comment down below. I respond to just about everybody now, so it's yeah, it's just one of those things. You don't know what you don't know, so we're figuring it out. So those are kind of the plans. I feel really good, especially after talking to the inspector about the septic plan, the line and everything. He said everything sounds good. I'm gonna have the U clean out of each cabin. Yeah, nothing much else with that. So we're gonna end it today. We'll pick up tomorrow, guys. We'll see you. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It's now a couple days after I last talked to you guys. I just got wrapped up into things here for the last, I think, day. I didn't get anything yesterday for you guys, but as usual, quite a few things happened here around the projects. First of all, let me show you this here. So we're up here at the cistern here. This is going to supply water for the cabins here. So I created a form here and tied it in with rebar into the original pad that's back there. But this is going to be my pump house, the base for the pump house. So I've got PVC tube right here. That's going to be the outflow for water that's going to come down the hill here and then around this tree and around and make its way eventually down to the cabin. So that's there. The only thing I'll have kind of external is I'm going to have electrical. Electrical is probably going to run up this side of the building. I'm going to have like a little shed thing here that's going to protect the pump and the pressure tank and stuff like that, because pressure tank's already here. It's right there. So I've got my concrete. I picked up concrete yesterday afternoon. They were a little worried at the building supply place where I got all that stuff. They were really worried because last night it got down to about 10 degrees or so. So they were worried if I was going to be mixing in concrete that afternoon and stuff. So that part was done. We did that yesterday, late yesterday afternoon. Today, I'm not sure if it was in the background there of what I was just filming. I just got back from renting the ditch, the trencher. It's a newer version of the last one. If you guys were hanging around a while ago when I initially did the trenching here along the property for some stuff, this is a newer version. But he was saying they've had to replace a lot of the teeth on the actual piece that does the work. So it doesn't really give me 6 full inches anymore. And so I'm not sure how well that's going to work out, because this is 4-inch SDR 35 sewer line. So we'll see if it's super, if it's super tight. Here's my machine behind me. Let me fix. So, I drove it down the hill already. It's down here between cabins 3 and 2. Along with other things that were happening yesterday, I was continuing to dig underneath the cabins and stuff. So I hemmed and hawed about cabin 2. I want to, because several things going on, because it's so steep through here. I'm going to do my best to, not have a dramatic drop in my sewer line. I want to have as few turns on there as possible. I don't have any 90-degree turns at all, except from the vertical. When it drops out of the cabin, it goes 90 to a horizontal line. That's the only 90-degree turn I have. Down here by cabin, I've talked about this extensively. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing of it, but there's 145 along the main stretch, and I mean, I just hope that is. I'm just hoping for no problems. So anyway, let me get you a look here at cabin 2. So the trench here, initially when I had kind of lined this out, I don't know if you can see my orange line that's down there. I was going to come around the back side of this electrical line, but I would have had to have put in a turn up there, either a 45 or a 22 and a half. So I just came directly through here. So it's between my electrical line and my grounding rod that's right there. So this will come out here to a Y45 and then connect into the main line. So again, only 145 after this first junction as you head downhill. So I need to, well, we're gonna see how this thing's gonna work. Again, I don't know. We're gonna give it a go, see how it goes, hoping for the best. And you know, I've got it all weekend, so if I need to go back over things twice, or I'm not sure, we'll kind of figure it out. So let me get you guys set up a little bit, and yeah, we'll go from there.
So as I start to move, adjust the trencher into position here, trying to line it up, the controls are very sensitive, and it controls one track at a time, left track or right track, and just kind of lining it up and doing some of that work was a bit frustrating at times, but once it got lined up, everything worked just fine. Now as I get the final alignment there, I kind of look down below the piece of equipment. I'm trying to line it up with the spray paint marks I have on the ground there, just so I can pull straight back and won't have to worry about having to adjust, you know, turning from side to side. It's very difficult with a machine like this to turn while obviously the blade is in the ground. It's just one of those things. So I want to come straight back, and I was kind of lining that up with where the blade or the chain was at in the front as compared to, you know, as I draw it straight back, it's lined up with the marking paint. So at this point here, the chain is as far down as it's going to go. I'm getting a good 36 inches down into the soil and pulling straight back. So my intention is to come back beyond the line that's going to, off the 45, that's going to head down towards cabin 2. So I'm going to keep drawing it back here until I get past that point. But it's pulling up a ton of dirt, and it's making a good sized pile there off to the left hand side of the equipment. And I'm just checking the ditch now just to make sure everything's kind of lined up.
All right, gang, I got my first, I don't know, 5 or 6 feet of this trench started, and it looks like this is gonna work really well. Yeah, I'm super excited. Just my back is just sitting here thanking me that I'm not out here kind of digging this around. It looks as if it's going to be plenty wide enough, but there will not be any case for, you know, kind of manipulation of it left or right. So I got to be pretty sure that I stay on track as far as where I want to go, and that's looking down my orange line that's annotated through here. So yeah, so right now I come off of there at a 45, and now I have to, you know, basically straighten out. So I'm going to come down past it and then kind of reset myself and then start in as straight as I can get it along the way here. So I could have come back a little further on this one for sure. Maybe I'll just leave that for handwork, but I got a nice good line, pretty good straight line here for that. Now I wanted to clear some of the spoils off the side here. This will give me a nice clean run here for the track and everything. Now it is just slightly above freezing right now, so some of the soil that's been frozen for a couple days is starting to thaw, and it's making it a little slick. But this section here right behind the trencher right now is really the kind of only area I'm worried about, because I had pulled out some really large stumps from this area. So it's all fill dirt on the top, so it's relatively loose pack and stuff like that. So actually I think I'll come back around, come this way another couple feet, and then probably shovel some more material and then get started on this longer stretch. All right, guys, I want to give you a little bit of an update here. About halfway through this sewer line dig that's here in the back. The tricky part's going to be this under cabin 1 thing. I didn't dig under cabin 1 because I didn't really want to spend half the day digging, where the trencher would have done the work for me. So I have a string line basically, and I have you know, ran a spray paint line down through there. And that leads right underneath that, the outflow there from the toilet is right above that, where the toilet's gonna be. So, and then straight over to the septic tank over there. So As I've been coming along, you can see that the actual trenching part is only, it might be a little over a foot deep right now, and that's probably where it's going to stay the rest of the trip. Maybe I might even come up a little further than that, but this area, so I was down full depth up through here, right about 3 feet or so, and I tried to gradually move it. You can see I got a pretty straight line, pretty happy with that. But yeah, so because you know I'm behind cabin 3 now, this area behind me here is the highest of the 3 cabins right now. So to try and reduce the flow, it's a natural downhill, so even at the 3 feet it's still flowing downhill, but you can see there after cabin 2 it takes a dive from right behind cabin 2, where that 45 junction is, to the septic tank. It's about 45 feet and it drops 5 feet. So it's certainly, if you do quarter inch a foot for the whole line is about 100 feet. So I should drop almost 3 feet over the whole distance, and I dropped 5 feet for the last half. So it's certainly not perfect, but you know, it is what it is. You're gonna go with what you got, and so I got to pull up the string. Again, much like I did up top there, I'm gonna dig beyond where the turn should be, and then I'll go to cabin 1 and work myself back towards where the junction is. So, but it only, you know, digging up about a foot or so really makes this thing move along rather quickly. So it works really well, especially when you're doing shallow depth. So let's get to it. All right, guys, I just managed to get down here underneath cabin 1. I was really happy with how far in I was able to get coming in from the other side, literally almost underneath the downflow there for the sewer. So a little bit of hand digging under here. I got to figure some stuff out. I've got some foundation issues right here. We'll work through that. And then I think over here by the tank, I don't want to end up driving the equipment over any of the septic tank or anything like that. So this last, I don't know, 8 feet or so will be a hand dig, which is fine. That machine has already saved me countless hours and innumerable Advil. So yeah, it looks great. Because this is so high here, the machine actually slid right under here and was able to get a pretty good reach out of that. Again, probably only down, looks to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 inches or so through here, and which I knew that wasn't deep enough to catch my electrical lines, because my electrical lines come down through here and then down around the back of cabin 1. So I know that stuff was down about 36 inches or so, so no problems there. So yeah, things are looking good back here. I think that little wonky here towards the end. I was hitting some, you can see some roots down in there. Hitting some of those roots, and as it was vibrating, the machine would start to shift a little bit. So there's a little bit of an S-turn to it, not much. Again, I could see all the way up the trench up to the junction there at cabin 1. So I'm real happy with that. I'll stick some of the spoils back down into the hole itself, level it out, just so there's, you know, the pipe is completely supported the entire trip down, and then yeah, we'll go with that. So pretty much the trenching here for the cabin, the sewer stuff is done, at least with the machine. Of course, I'll have to come around and, like I just told you, about some hand digging and stuff. So today is Friday afternoon. I'm not quite sure what time it is now. I'm sure it's afternoon, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do right now. I've got some options, and it's nice to have the machine here for the weekend. And what I showed you earlier, what's going to be the pump house there, that concrete pad, I'm probably going to pour that on Sunday. Sunday is supposed to be the warmest, close to 60 degrees, overnight lows still in the mid to upper 40s. So pretty good day to pour that concrete. So we'll make that happen on Sunday. Monday, Tuesday looks like a rain out, so you know, it is what it is. We'll cover the concrete and we'll get as much done this weekend with this piping as I can. So I'm gonna be running around here messing with everything that I just talked about with you guys here, and then I guess as soon as something interesting happens or so, we'll grab you guys and bring you along. All right, we'll see you in a bit. Well guys, I just spent the last 45 minutes or so here getting the water trench down to the cabins. It went super smooth, couldn't be happier with it. It's about 12 to 15 inches the entire way. We'll kind of walk the distance here and just kind of show you a little bit. So again, nothing really to worry about back through here. We're behind the future location here of cabin 5. So somewhere about in this location, I'm going to install a T off the water line to have the future water supply to cabin 5. And then this is the main trail here that I come and go from the house with every day. Some red flags out here. That's the power, when I called 811 to come out to mark where the power was. But I really didn't have any concern because I wasn't going down near 3 feet at all. And when they came in and put the power in to run down here to the electrical box, they brought an excavator, and that thing, how deep it was dug, it was well over 3 feet, if not 4 feet, just about the entire way down. So really didn't have any issues, you know, or thought I would have an issue with it. I'm not quite sure if you can see this through the shadow or not, but there's certainly some handwork that's got to be done. But we definitely kept it back off towards the side here. I got the electrical box back there. This is the future home of cabin 4. So I wanted to get back off the driveway, as well as for when I dig the foundation and the footers for cabin 4. This water line won't come into play. So my only issue, the only thing I did thinking about the future, I'm going to have another box here. It's going to be a sub panel that's going to feed cabins 4 and 5, because I already have 200 amps going to the first 3 cabins. So this is a 400 amp circuit, and so I'm going to branch off. I've got a 200 amp breaker inside there. I'm going to branch it off, put another box up, and that's going to feed cabin 4 and 5. But that power line is going to be lower than this trench that I have dug here for the water. So that's really the only kind of stumbling block. Somewhere down in the future, when I do run power to cabin 4 and 5, I'm going to have to watch out for this water line. But my intention is to bring it in front of the water line, and then I'll be able to, I'll use the same trencher for it. And once I get on this side, I'm going to definitely mark this very well, especially here around cabin 4, where I have to worry about the power coming out. So the power coming out here to cabin 4 will come along here and obviously just dump into the back of cabin 4, and then up the hill again. I'm planning on staying to the left of the trench there to get up into cabin 5 with the power. So I tried to think about it as best I could. I wasn't going to delay putting this trench in any longer, especially for you know, plans that are still probably a year out. So anyway, brought the trench down here. This is probably my only area of concern here. It's a little deeper because this is one of the parking areas or thoroughfares, depending, you know, if people end up driving back to the camping area. again, future project. So through here, right here in front of cabin 3, I kind of took a hard turn. We're gonna have to do some, just some rounding off here. The poly line is pretty flexible, but I want to take as much stress off the pipe as I can. So I'll probably round this off for sure. And then down right along cabin 3 here. Again, thinking of the, parking area here at cabin 2, the trench is back against really the front of it. Really no issues. Managed to squeeze through between this oak tree and the porch, so that worked out really well. And then finally just down here to a little bit of a turn to where it will terminate, and then I'll feed off of here into cabin 1. And then I haven't thought about cabin 2 as far as where water's going to come from. It may come off of the same kind of area down here and just feed back to cabin 2. Or up here, I may come off right here, use the pier, run a line up, and then connect it to the bottom. So definitely a future. I still have quite a bit of work to do here on cabin 2. So connecting the water is not a primary objective right now. So that's kind of how that looks. And I didn't show you guys just me running a piece of equipment. Nothing really crazy happened along the way, just some maneuvering and things like that, but it went super well. So the only other ditch I have to dig right now is the power from the barn out to the pump house. Certainly not going to be an issue. I don't believe there's nothing buried up there. So because it is direct burial wire, it's got to be a little deeper. About 22 feet or so, and it's going to be 2 lines. Once that's dug, I'm going to lay the wire in there and then just fill it back in, because there's no, it's the driveway, so we use that kind of all the time. So I just don't want to have that exposed. I can leave it exposed at both ends. I still have to run the conduit up the side of the barn with an LB to get power from the inside down the lines, and then eventually once the shed is built, I'll be able to, obviously pull it out of the ground and or run it out of the ground and then into the motor and things like that, the pump. Future projects here. I say that like it's not like a year away. This is probably going to be in a week or two, hopefully before Christmas. But we'll see. It's really going to depend on the weather. So huge project completed today with the septic trench and then the water line trench. So I'm going to be doing some hand digging, like I said, on both trenches. My primary concern now is the septic stuff. The water line is really pretty easy. The septic, connecting those pipes, the aqua colored pipes here behind me, connecting those, gearing them up, getting everything kind of sloped as best I can. That's kind of the priority and stuff, because I don't want to spend half the time here, fixing clogs. But everything I've read a lot online about the research into the slope and things like that, it may be a lot based around older piping, cast iron piping and things like that. A lot of articles I read now talk about this smooth PVC pipe, and they don't really have a problem with clogging and stuff. So my intention is to sand and to ream out all of the edges from all the connectors, so everything runs between one pipe to the next very smooth. No small pieces of plastic sticking up that can catch anything as it goes by. So I'm going to do my best to make that happen. So that's going to do it today. Like I said, it's only about 2 or 3 in the afternoon right now. I've only had this machine here for probably 2, maybe 3 hours, if that. And I've just about finished all of the digging that I need to do. So that thing is fantastic. I really thankful I'm able to utilize a piece of machine like that, because this would have taken certainly forever. So going to do some hand digging here to wind out the afternoon. and we'll move on from there. So let me wrap this up. We'll get this out to you guys, and then we'll come back tomorrow as things get assembled. Tomorrow's Saturday. Going to be a nice day, a little slightly warmer, but you know, we're going to be here anyway. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.